What is up people, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about what I think is one of the bigger problems in Helldivers 2 at the moment, and that is the way you receive news and information in general when it comes to this game. With Helldivers 2 reaching such unprecedented levels of success and maintaining a lot of it months after release, I believe that it's key to have an easy to understand direct source of information to do with the latest updates, issues that may come with said updates, and in general harder to understand aspects of the game to help out the more casual players of the fanbase, which would be the majority. Unfortunately, while you are told about new things that are occurring in the Helldivers world through the dispatches and war table messages, most detailed sources come from second or third party sites ranging from fan sites to social media platforms such as Reddit and Discord, as well as content creators mainly on YouTube, which all at their best can provide solid, credible information, but you won't have to look far and maybe not at all to find misinformation, speculation, rage bait, clickbait and all of the above. But regardless of how good any of these sites are, the majority of players are not going to look outside the game to find a solution to whatever problem they have or thing they don't understand. This leads to lots of very frustrating moments, not only for the casual side of players, but the more experienced ones also. For instance, let's take a look at a recent major order and the newest stratagem that came alongside it, the airburst rocket launcher. There are so many little things here that could have been done differently in my opinion, so here's the dispatch message that came through. The title is Legitimate Undertaking, that's cool. Phase 1 Citizen Rescue, blah blah blah, don't worry about that. On Chewie, citizens who have proved their loyalty through testing of a new fortification stratagem are trapped. On Penta, citizens who have synthesized tons of caustic chemicals for a new support weapon stratagem are awaiting rescue. Likely, only the citizens and weaponry of the first planet liberated will be saved. Okay, so with that message we've established that there are two different stratagems on two different planets, both highlighted, which is nice, that we can get from this major order, and we will only receive the stratagem that corresponds to the planet we liberate first. But for whatever reason we've not been told what the stratagems are. Now I hear you saying maybe it's intentional, so that until we reach one of the planets we won't know exactly what they are, and I would agree with you if not for the fact that the major order video which was released on their X page showed icons for each stratagem, and in the caption of that same video they described them fully. The message at the war table is more of the same, two planets yet no description of the stratagems we're supposed to be getting. And now we're really getting to that bit that throws people off, the lack of supply lines. There was never a hope to get anti-tank mines because how are people supposed to know how to get them? If we go into the Lacoil sector we can see 4 planets. At the time Lasat was the only one open, then Penta was above it, Chort Bay to the left of Penta and Chuk to the left of Chort Bay. Now people can make the assumption that Lasat is beside Penta, so you need to liberate Lasat first, but nothing about this war table gives the impression that if you wanted to go to Chuk, you need to liberate Menkent first, which is in a whole other sector. And I know people are going to say Lasat had more ideal conditions to Menkent, and that's why it was liberated, and more people at the time wanted the airburst launcher, but I firmly believe that more than 10,000 people were interested in the mines, they just had no idea how to get to Chuk. And there were multiple people asking me alone how I was using the airburst launcher before we had liberated Penta, unaware that if you're playing on Penta and Penta alone, you could use it, just something else that was not explained clearly. And then the unfortunate massacre of tens of thousands of Helldivers from a stratagem that was so broken that it would trigger off a leaf floating through the air, and logically when something like this happens, you put a big flashing unavoidable warning that when people enter the game, they know not to use the launcher or at least be cautious till it's fixed, to avoid lots of angry moments from players that are both aware and unaware of the issue. And there was a message put out on the Discord server, which if you are in, moves so quickly that it's hard to even see things like this, which is why it would be so much better to have it in-game alongside the fact that more people would actually see it. Some small changes I would have made to make all that easier to understand for the more casual player is putting the names of the stratagems in the dispatches as well as the major order description and the icons of both stratagems which you seen previously in the video that was posted on X above Penta and Chewie like I've shown here, and for the period of time that the stratagem was broken, again a simple message in the dispatches or an urgent message on the war table in that familiar Super Earth style, something like the current rollout of RL-77 rocket launchers contain an invasive chip planted by automatons to make the proximity detonation be extremely unreliable. We do not claim responsibility for any accidents during its use. Obviously, That's not an excuse for a broken stratagem, but in my opinion it fits perfectly into the lore and would make people a lot more accepting of any issues because they'd see it as a joke. And if I were to pick where information gets displayed, I would either say the war table, as you're going to have to click into that at some point, but of course more detailed than it is now, and supply lines are also seriously needed as they would help massively with getting major orders done. Otherwise, you could have a console somewhere on the ship that you go to receive all the latest news and updates with no restrictions, and those who want to delve into the nitty gritty can do so, and those who couldn't care less can ignore it. I do think good use is being made of the broadcast from the TV in our ship. I like the way it's half lore and jokes and half informative, so I would leave that as is. By the way, I'm really not trying to bash this game, I love it so much. That's why I think it's so important that how you find new information, whether that be a problem or a solution, changes to a way that's more contained within the game itself, as it will do nothing but benefit. If I had to give an analogy, it's like Helldivers 2 is throwing the most amazing parties in the world all the time, for the most part. I'm talking Project X meets Hangover, with Memories by David Guetta as the soundtrack, the sped up version specifically. Look it up if you don't know, get to know. But they're so focused on all of these amazing things they're trying to do that they're forgetting to send out the invites. There is all this cool stuff going on in Helldivers, new major orders, new missions, new stratagems, new war bonds, but with the rate they put stuff out there's bound to be mistakes, which could be avoided or lessened through telling the majority of players what the issue is. And even though it's kind of separate to what I'm mainly talking about, I feel like it still ties in, but it's the basic things that could be sorted out pretty easily. I mean, I'm not a game developer, so I guess I don't really know, but I imagine they would be quite easy. Do we have 7 stratagems in the robotics section or 8? Is it the MG206 heavy machine gun or the MG101 heavy machine gun? Does the spear have an added reload stage or does it not? Even the likes of how to resupply yourself with the supply pack or how to activate the jump pack, a couple of extra words in their description will save people from being confused. Now some people might say that I'm nitpicking, but I'm trying to get the point across that clear in-game information along with getting the basic bits sorted is an easy way to please a lot of players and keep them coming back. But I'd love to hear your opinions on this, and I have a question. The pace that Arrowhead is releasing new patches and content is amazing, and I understand that they want to keep up with the bigger AAA games, but do you think that they've set a pace that overall will be detrimental to the game, and that, for example, patches every second week and war bonds every second month would serve them and the game better in the long run, as they would be able to release more flushed out content in comparison to what happens now, which sometimes seems like a half-baked throw it at the wall strategy? No hate, but let me know. I'm also going to link in the description all the sites that I use to get the most information, as well as some YouTubers I personally like. And to that person out there saying Helldivers aren't dumb, why do you think we're all stupid? If people can't figure things out they shouldn't play. Listen, people will play regardless, and this only benefits you because do you know who was team killing you so much recently? The casual player who doesn't have Reddit or Discord and was letting that pocket clussy rip for hours upon hours until they maybe saw a YouTube video or got screamed at in-game, and that could have been avoided if they were told by an in-game message that the stratagem was broken. But with all that being said, I'm going to end this video here, so if you did enjoy, please consider subscribing. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.